While selling a gun up in the hills, I suddenly noticed something off. The buyer assembled the weapon 3 seconds faster than me, and she was an agent. Even before the test, I intentionally misaligned the scope. The buyer still hit the bull's eye from dozens of meters away. That was enough for me to realize this wasn't an ordinary customer. This had to be a professional killer. But right then, the buyer suddenly handed the gun back to me and told me to stand far away and shoot toward her direction to test the silencing effect. I walked out dozens of meters. I could have eliminated the problem right there, but I didn't. I followed her instructions and fired to the side instead, because in that moment, I'd already thought of a better way to deal with her. After seeing the weapon worked, the buyer pulled out a bundle of cash, but I still didn't hand it over. I told her to wait 3 days because I needed time to improve it a little more. The buyer didn't overthink it. We agreed to meet again in 3 days for the handoff. After that, I needed a proper base setup, so I went to the local underground market and bought some parts. With my experience, I put everything together until it looked like a normal weapon again. But before the handoff, I still had one final step to finish. I began by filing down the tip of the bullet until it was flat. Next, I drilled a small hole into it. Finally, donning a pair of rubber gloves, I carefully dripped mercury into the hollowed-out bullet tip. In this way, even if the bullet failed to strike a vital spot, the mercury contained within would still poison the enemy. 3 days later, I arrived at the meeting point to deliver the gun, but to my surprise, the buyer said she needed to use the restroom first and check the goods. That move instantly made me uneasy. Luckily, she didn't seem to notice anything. She paid the rest of the money and drove off. I immediately realized this place was no longer safe. When I got back, I planned to leave the city with my girlfriend. What I didn't know was a sniper scope was already locked on my head, and the person holding the gun, the same female killer who had just made the deal with me, she was one step away from finishing the job. Without thinking, she was about to pull the trigger when suddenly something dramatic happened.